Imagine this. It's 3:17 in the morning. You're in deep sleep, and suddenly your eyes snap open, without any sound, without any dream. The room is completely silent, yet you feel that you are not alone. The air is still, the window is closed, the door is locked, but the curtain is slowly, almost imperceptibly, moving. And when you reach for your phone to check the time, the screen glows with two numbers. 3:17 a.m. That's when the cold dread washes over you. You remember, this is not an ordinary room. This is hostel room number 17. They call Islamabad the city of peace. Clean roads, green hills, and a profound silence at night where you can hear your own breathing. But every city has its dark corners, places where peace evaporates after midnight. In one such corner of a quiet sector, there stood an old student hostel. From the outside, it looked perfectly normal. No broken walls, no warning signs, nothing to suggest anything was wrong. But there was one peculiarity. Room number 17 was on the hostel map, yet seniors never spoke of it openly. If a junior ever dared to ask, the answer was always the same hushed warning. Just try not to stay in that room. No one ever explained why. Ali was a second-year university student, new to the sprawling city of Islam. Hostel rooms were notoriously hard to find, a constant source of stress for newcomers. So when the warden casually mentioned, room 17 is available, Ali agreed without a second thought. Relief washed over him. He had a place to stay. The first day passed without incident. The room was clean enough. The bed seemed fine, and though there were faint, damp marks staining the wall, Ali dismissed them. At night, as the lights went out one by one, the entire hostel fell into a deep silence. Ali put on his headphones, hoping music would lull him to sleep. But sometime in the dead of night, his eyes opened. For no reason at all. It was an unsettling feeling, as if someone had gently shaken him awake. He turned on his side, and then he heard it. A faint tap. 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 A slow, rhythmic knocking, like someone was gently tapping on the wall from the other side. At first, Ali thought it was just his neighbor in the next room. Annoying, but normal. But then a chilling realization crept in. The sound wasn't coming from the next room. It was coming from the wall, right beside his head. He sat up, his heart starting to pound, and cautiously placed his hand on the cool plaster. The moment his palm touched the surface, the sound stopped. Dead silence. Ali took a deep breath, trying to rationalize it, and lay back down. But a few seconds later, a new sound began. Scratching. A dry, scraping sound from the other side of the wall, as if someone was dragging their fingernails down the plaster. Slow and deliberate. Ali's hands began to tremble. He fumbled for his phone, turned on the flashlight, and aimed the bright beam at the wall. There was nothing there, just the faded paint and the damp stains. But when he turned the flashlight off, plunging the room back into darkness, he heard something else. In the suffocating silence of the room, he heard breathing, but it wasn't a slow, raspy inhale and exhale, seemingly coming from somewhere inside the room with him. The next morning, a shaken Ali told his friend Samir about the night's events. The moment Ali mentioned the strange noises, Samir's face grew serious. He looked at Ali, his eyes wide, and said only one thing. Whatever happens at night, whatever you hear or see, never get out of bed after 3:17. Ali tried to laugh it off, dismissing it as a silly superstition. But the second night was far, far worse than the first. This time, when Ali woke up with that same unnatural jolt, the room was freezing. The temperature had plummeted, and it felt like an icy breath was blowing directly onto his face. And then he saw it. In the far corner of the room, a tall, slender shadow was standing perfectly still. It had the shape of a person, but no discernible features, no face. Just a void of blackness that seemed to absorb the dim light from the window. It was unnaturally tall, its head nearly touching the ceiling. Ali squeezed his eyes shut and opened them again, praying it was a trick of his tired mind. The shadow was still there, but now it was moving. Slowly, silently, it began to glide across the floor, straight toward his bed. Ali wanted to scream, to call for help, but his voice was trapped in his throat, a silent, choked gasp. Terror paralyzed him. as the shadow reached the foot of his bed and slowly began to raise a long, thin arm. The "Pray don't call to prayer" echoed from a nearby mosque. In an instant, the shadow vanished. Ali was left alone, drenched in a cold sweat, his body shaking uncontrollably. The next day, desperate for answers, he spoke to one of the old hostel guards. The guard's face paled when Ali mentioned room 17. He reluctantly told him a story that had become a grim legend within the hostile walls. Years ago, a student had died suddenly inside that very room. There was no illness, no sign of injury. He was simply found dead on his bed one morning. After that, any student who stayed in room 17 either fled the hostel in terror or seemed to lose their mind within a few months, becoming withdrawn and disturbed. And the most terrifying part, every single incident, every strange occurrence, was reported to have happened at exactly 3:17 a.m. Ali was terrified, but a part of him needed proof. He decided to capture it on camera. That night, he set up his phone on his desk. The camera aimed directly at his bed and pressed record. He forced himself to lie down, his eyes fixed on the corner where the shadow had appeared. He must have drifted off, because the next thing he knew, he was awake. The freezing cold was back, and the shadow was there again. But this time it wasn't in the corner. It was standing right beside his bed, looming over him. Ali didn't dare move. He just lay there, pretending to be asleep, until morning light finally broke through the window. With trembling hands, he grabbed his phone. He had to see the footage. He played the video, his heart hammering against his ribs. The first few hours were just him, sleeping peacefully. Then, at exactly 3:17 a.m., the video showed him stirring. And then, the shadow appeared. It materialized beside the bed, just as he remembered. But as Ali watched, his blood ran cold. The video showed something his eyes had missed in the dark. In the grainy footage, along with the tall shadow standing by the bed, there was something else. Under the bed, it looked like a person, hanging upside down, their face obscured by long, dark hair, gently swaying. After that night, Ali left. He packed his bags and never looked back. The hostile administration eventually sealed room 17 for good. But the story doesn't end there. Some students say that even today, if you look up at the right window at 3:17 in the morning, you can sometimes see a tall, human-like shadow standing there, watching. And if you ever find yourself passing by that old hostel in Islamabad late at night, and you get that chilling feeling that someone is watching you, don't turn around, because room 17 is still not empty. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories from the shadows.